Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the Key Value Retail Technology Podcast. It's great to be back with an absolute fantastic topic today. We have a guest here that I always wanted to speak to, and I was really looking forward to Pedro Monteiro from Triumph. So, hi, Pedro. How are you doing?
Hi, Christoph. Fine, thank you.
Yeah, great to have you here. We're going to talk a little bit today about the project that we just did together at your company at Triumph, implementing a merchandise and assortment planning solution. It was quite an interesting project with a large scope, end to end. Just to mention a couple of things that were implemented: top down merchandise plan. Various merchandise channels were covered, bottom-up option planning process, sophisticated assortment order plan, and so on and so on. So, quite an interesting journey that we went through during the last now 1.5, almost 2 years. So, really looking forward to hear more about this. But before we start, maybe you can introduce yourself quickly to the audience.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Pedro Monteiro. I'm 19 years in the company now,
Wow.
since 2005, and I'm the business development manager for the forecast to deliver process, with a global overview of our planning processes and forecast accuracies that drives our supply chain and our sales.
Okay, well, great. Thank you. So, starting with a couple of questions about the project. What was actually the inspiration for Triumph to pursue that transformation in the merchandise and assortment planning? And what were the goals when you thought about starting this project?
Well, as in any company, we need to follow the normal business evolution in a changing world. And of course, assortment planning and merchandise assortment planning is one area where is complex, trying to fit with all the new challenges. We've been using in the past a couple of systems, in-house developed system or half-developed system, and we really need to move to something that is more integrated, that is more flexible, and could adjust to our, again, changing requirements. Our product and brand positioning and our channel complexity with so many different business types of relationship nowadays makes the planning process very complex, very broad, and it all must fit in one process and comes together in the end to one total figure, especially season by season. We are planning a full season by season logic, and so the need for a top scale map system was critical for us. And so we've been discussing this for 5 years now, and finally we move into the phase where we did a selection process, and then we come up to this decision to go along with Centric. And we selected Centric as the system to go. And then, as you mentioned, you join in as our partner for the implementation, and we started 1.5 years ago implementing and getting things going.
Yes. And obviously, a project of that size and that scope coverage is a big challenge. There's no question about that. Especially if you cover such a broad business as you actually running at Triumph. Would you also say that that was one of the biggest challenges to cover all those different sales channels, or was it something else? What was the biggest challenge during the implementation, and how did we together tackle that?
Exactly. One of our biggest challenge is the complex of this different type of business channels that we have, and so different teams, different logics, different views, and coming up to all together in one standard view. Let's put it this way. Of course, people in this area tend a lot to have their own Excel files and their own
Oh yeah.
logics, and in bringing this up into one system is not easy. We can say that was one of the biggest challenges because since the beginning of the project, the data structures, the process steps, etc., were the main discussions and the main analysis. And we have to do this, keeping the focus on we are here to serve the customer, to serve our customers. We need to keep the momentum of sales going up, and we need to minimize the stock leftovers at the end of each cycle in order to, of course, increase our business results. So it's a pretty challenging environment we are playing with.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine there must be a lot of commitment on all different levels and in all different teams in order to move forward to this one goal. Of having one planning solution that supports everyone. I
The
mean,
additional challenge on top of this, you need to put
mhm.
this piece in an integrated view with the other pieces of the
Oh
of the
yeah,
business process.
yeah.
Starting with the range development from our brand team, design team, and they are developing the new products, which they are developing using Centric PLM.
Hmm.
uh, we need to receive this data. We need to have all this integrated. So in terms of all the data that of the new products, and together with the daily channel and customer changes that are happening on every day. So our channels and our structure is changing a lot every day. And on the outbound process, we have to deliver results to the supply chain team, to the financial team, and we need to keep all this in sync. And so also the integration, in all of this larger scope was also one of the complexities that we had.
Mm, I understand. I mean, was there like a key moment, a memorable moment where you saw that everything kind of got together, that the collaboration really worked out, so that kind of shows the spirit of this project?
Well, yes, of course. For me, the memorable moment, it's like my, this is like being an architect. You are drawing a house from the beginning. You're seeing the big picture of how beautiful it should be in the end, but then you need to build it, and then you need to see it in reality, and
Yeah.
people need to live in it to go there and say, "Oh, I like this house," or it's bad. So the moment for me is when you finally have the house in place. You go live with the system. People are starting to use it, and things work, and people like it, and it's easy of use. It's powerful system, and that's the moment for me when you see the final end result.
Oh yeah, I
That
can
that's when
imagine.
you then when all the work you have been doing, then it compensates all the hard work that you've been doing. That's exactly that moment.
Oh, that's a very nice description of that situation. Yeah, I can imagine opening the door, getting into the house,
Hey,
right?
come in, come
Yeah,
in.
exactly. And people looking around and saying, "Oh yeah, I like
By
that."
the way, I need to train you on how to
Yeah,
to
exactly.
move around.
How to open the door then to the living room. But
Yes,
okay, that's a
exactly.
that's a different story, obviously. But no, that's a great comparison here. But I mean, yeah, now the house is there, right? And people
Yes.
are moving in, they're moving around, they know how to open the doors, hopefully. Uh, but talking about the benefits of that solution, so what are the aspects of the new planning solution that have been most impactful for you guys at Triumph, and how has it
Well,
changed your approach?
yeah. Well, first of all, there's a intangible benefit of people understanding that a company is going in a direction that everybody's on board, so that it's the same vision for everyone. This is already a clear team benefit in the company because we are a multinational global company. We are spread around the globe. We have more than 150 users using the system in general, and it's lots of people. And so bringing all people together, talking the same language, same terminology, the KPIs now have the same names for everyone. The data, there's one place of truth for the data. The data that is there is the one that people know that it is the one that will be used by everyone. So this integration of all these aspects, um, also again supporting all the different type of plannings that we are doing, the specificities of each area. Wholesale is completely different from retail, which is completely different from e-commerce. Um, Also, people knowing that their specificity is there, is covered, they have support on it, system handles it. Of course, that it's a journey. We are still enhancing things
Sure.
every season. It's not a one-off. Also because we are learning more and more with the system also. So we also now that we have this, we also could have this. So it's a journey in that sense. But you see that people are on board, and the results are happening, even though we started the planning 9 months ago, the first planning, which is for spring summer 25 season. So it's not, we don't have the end results yet. We don't have the forecast accuracy yet because we don't know the actuals yet. Or at least we only know for part of the business. But only at the end of the first season we will really have the numbers to see the benefits of it. But for now, the momentum is great. Again, in the team and the reaction from everyone. We are already planning the autumn winter 25 in the system. So we already closed the first planning season. Now we are already in the second one. We are already implementing new changes, new additions, new optimizations. And again, integrating with brand team, integrating with finance team, integrating with supply chain, getting the actuals updated because the system is like a hub. We need to receive everything here and then process and then give an output. And that is working very well. And so the benefits at the moment, as I mentioned, are more of this qualitative type. We will have the quantitative results once we finish the first season.
Yeah, I understand. We're all looking forward to hear, how the results are. Obviously, that's why you do all of that exercise,
Exactly.
right? But yeah, I mean, also we all understand, and I'm sure you too. It's an iterative process, right? So after the first results are back, and the first season where you sell the merchandise that you actually plan for is being sold, and I mean, then you get the real accuracy of the whole thing. But talking about this, as my understanding is, the next phase that we're together approaching now is the implementation of an in-season planning, right? And that goes right into this conversation. Okay, numbers are coming back. You have your merchandise already here. You need to manage the inventory. What are you most excited about when you see that as the next step and to even improve the planning further?
Yes, you are absolutely right. Now we are driving the in-season management part, which is once we plan it, and then once goods are going to arrive into the stores and being delivered to the markets, now we need to track how things are going on a daily and weekly basis and react to it. So first of all, the tracking. So knowing the actuals, comparing it with what was planned, tracking at every moment the real live data. That will be an important moment. And an important feature that we are eager to have. We have a couple of additional models that we are implementing also to managing prices and promotions. So we'll track closely the prices, and we expect to better measure the reaction on prices in the market, and we expect to have actions upon it and to have quicker actions that are also actionable from the Centric planning tool and integrated with the other systems, with our, for instance, POS systems and our replenishment systems. So again, as a central point of control, that's how we see it. Our Centric planning now in season management functionality will be integrating with all the other operational systems, but keeping the monitoring and the actions in one single point. That will be one of the key expectations, is to, instead of having everything dispersed in having to check several sources to see how things are going. Also, we expect to learn a lot, in the sense that some forecasts that are done even during the let's say the in-season process, we will also move this to map planning. So it's not only the season forecast done 9 months ago, it's also during the season. For the replenishment and for the final results of our planning, we expect to have a finer, what we call pre-sales projection, which means that for specific channels, we plan something, but then we start having the meetings with the customers and getting the orders, and then things are not exactly according to what we plan. So we need to adjust what we plan on a short notice. And so we are also to have this short-term forecasting process that we are also going to implement during the in-season management part.
Great.
So it's closes the loop between of all the process. Usually say it's the third leg in the bench. So we have merchandise planning, assortment planning, and we have in-season management, and then the bench is stable, and we have everything covered, and then we can optimize from there, knowing that again that we are checking everything. We have all the data of the year in one single point of contact. We are integrated, and we can action from here to the other systems. So that's our vision and expectation for it.
Fantastic. So only one more leg missing then, and then we have the stability,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Sounds great. I mean, we mentioned sales channels a couple of times, that you do all of this across sales channels. Maybe for the audience, we should explain a little bit more what that actually means in your case, because your business is vertical. Triumph is a brand that has a wholesale business and a retail business, e-commerce. So can you just give the audience a little bit of an overview? What kind of sales channels you are actually planning, and how you connect them together in the end, because that's I think a challenge for everyone that has different channels.
Yes, it is a challenge. We have. I used to say that we have a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Triumph is in the market for 130 years now. We have been here for a long time, so we cover lots of markets in terms of regions, but also in terms of type of customers. We have the typical wholesale channel, where of course it's between, we have the key accounts, we have the field customers, small shops, and we have the big chains. We have also our own retail, and we have our own franchises. So it's a different approach with different requirements. And also in wholesale, we have contracts with some of our wholesale customers where we have the stock is consigned. So it's our own consigned stock that we manage. So it's also a different type of approach there. And then we have e-com, our own e-com all over Europe. And we have also decent retailers, so that we are also selling to. So again, all of them with different expectations and different requirements. That's why in the system, we split it in assortment planning, we split it in planning types. So we have really different, especially the detailed assortment planning, where because our assortment planning is not only the total quantities or products and quantities, our quantities are split between not only what we expect to sell in the season, but also how much we need to fill up at the first moment into the market, and then how much we replenish during the season. And this is detailed. And this goes down at the SKU level, because our product structure actually it has material, color, cup, size. So we need to go down to all levels. Of course, then we need to group these into clusters. And so some of the channels have a detailed cluster analysis and detailed cluster assortment planning. Some of them do a top-down approach, coming from the targets and then detailing the details. Some do a bottom-up. They like to first do all the fill-up and what they need to have in the shop, and then they sum up. So it's a really different approaches, and with the system we try to cover, and again to structure a standard feature for each one of them. Nevertheless, and the system was pretty flexible. Of course, it was hard work in setting it up, but we made it, and the system coped with it. And additional on top of this, we still have the need to have integration with Excel, for instance. We still have people that like to have their own Excels. They like to receive the results in Excel. They like to send Excel files into the system.
Really?
So the system also allows to download and upload from Excel directly, even though keeping, of course, the structure in one place that is key for us, so that we, again, from all type of channels, all type of customers, we manage their specificities, but then we have a central view, and we can really sum up everything. We can see the numbers in all the different type of specificities. And apart from this, we have different versions along the way, because as a planning cycles, when you are planning, we don't do a planning, that's it. You do revisions. So we need to save what we call versions of the plans.
Yeah.
And we need to manage all that in the system also. And we are doing it.
Yeah, I mean, what a transformation. I mean, Triumph can really be proud to be able, or that they were able, you were able, and still able to kind of come up with even the process behind the system. The system is one thing, right? But then on the other side, you need to have the process that makes sense and that brings all these different approaches together. So yeah, it's a fantastic transformational story here. What would be if you would talk to someone that wants to go through a similar transformation, what key lesson or advice would you share with another company that wants to do something similar?
Uh, we've been asked a lot about that. And well, first of all, one of the reasons we choose Centric system is not about the system itself only. Of course, the
Hmm.
system is very powerful in itself, technologically wise, but also about the team. So Centric team, they are all timers in the business. They know a lot. They have a lot of experience in this type of markets. They teach us a lot. So one of the key first thing I mention to everyone is that ask Centric. If we have something that you don't know or you want to build, ask Centric what how they suggest, how the system does it. But it's not about the system. You need always to adjust to our business. But ask them, and they will, of course, and also with key value, you all bring this added value of bringing all this experience, and you should always ask first for that. Never expect to have already the truth of how things should be. Always check with your partners and with you guys and with Centric.
Oh yeah,
Second,
that's thank you.
on
I mean, it's good to hear. Obviously, sounds very nice.
following on that logic, try to use as much as possible the standard features and the
Yeah.
standard processes that the centric planning models have. Try to use them as much as possible, but that's an overall truth. Also, cliche is simplify before automate. Yes, we have lots of different complexities and different logics, but we did some commitments, or meaning we did some assumptions that we need to assume that this is not can be. We need to simplify here, not go as further as some people would like, and try to bring it into a more large, stable, simplified way of doing. And even if you can disperse or can be different logics, but in the end, it's always the same framework that you are working on. Even though I must say that not only working with clever people like you guys is wonderful in this process, but also the system is in the end pretty easy to use,
Hmm.
and so that also makes it more easy to
Of
develop.
course.
And on
Yeah.
top of that, as it's easy to use, and one strategy that we use is that we go live first fast as possible, and adjust later. So instead
Yeah.
of trying to have the perfect solution in the first go, we kind of commit to where we call the foundation of the process, what in the foundation functionality that we need to have. That's what we went live. And then, as I mentioned, people start to, now that we have this, then what we should have this and this. And that's different if we ask people before, and we asked. So
Hmm.
if we detail how the system and what the requirements were before we have in the system and using the system, they are always different, because now people have different references. They also now we all know much more, and so
Hmm.
what we are now, the new requirements and the adjustments and the enhancements we are doing are much more refined and much more focused and much more powerful in the end than if we did it in the beginning. So
Yeah.
one of the suggestions is go live in the first foundation or base process first, and then add complexity on top of it, and build your house based on those foundations.
No,
And
absolutely.
that's what we are doing. So not only going with the in-season management now, but also we want to go with AI forecasting algorithms on top of the existing forecasting process. So all this is planned and is in our roadmap, and we are always having this consideration when deciding something along the way that needs to be ready to evolve in the future, and cannot be fixed, written in stone, and not movable anymore.
No, I 100% agree. This is a fantastic advice. That's also what we try to deliver, when we talk to prospects and other companies that want to do that, what we call the MVP approach, right? What you call the foundation. Make sure you create something as quickly as possible, covering at least the minimal viable process that you want to cover, and then keep on adding in an iterative process more functionality. And at the same time, what you said about Centric, the usability is absolutely key in order to achieve the user adoption. I mean, in the past, and I've dealt with many planning projects where very often projects stop being successful is when the user adoption wasn't there. People returned to Excel spreadsheets because it was in the end easier for them to achieve, what they tried to achieve. So yeah, I mean, this is. I hope many companies will listen to this great advice, Pedro. Thanks. So yeah, maybe as a last question, more on a personal note. I mean, I understand a project like this is sometimes a struggle, sometimes a challenge. Takes lots of time, lots of commitment, also on a personal side. But what has been the most rewarding for you personally when you think back about this project?
Well, in the middle of all this complexity and big project, the key point for me was the team
Hmm.
and how we, together with you guys, and I mean the broader team, internally and externally, how could we work together? And basically, we never met on site; it was always online.
Yeah, true. We have never met
That's
in person. So,
exactly.
yeah.
It's incredible. How can, in such an environment, we were and we are a very tight team, very committed. Again, not closer than if we were in the same room all the time. It's like being in the same room, and the trust and the confidence is there to have an open discussion on each topic, to check all the, don't be afraid to say wrong things or to try error things and then go back to the right ones. So that's very satisfying to work with people that are knowledgeable and smart, but they're also committed together in a team in the same goal and the same, and drive by the same values. That was, on a personal note, very very satisfying to me. And I think also the whole team also has that satisfaction of seeing the result in the end, seeing the house built in the end, and people using the house. That's also very very satisfying. And it was
Wow.
a big challenge, yes, but in the end, and knowing that, of course, in the end everything seems easier, or it was easy. No, it was difficult, it was complex, but in the end we succeeded, and that's very satisfying.
Well, what a great closing statement. Nothing I can add here. So, yeah, Pedro, thank you so much, to openly speak about the experience and the
My
project.
pleasure.
We at KeyValue really appreciate it, and we also appreciate the collaboration, during the last 1.5, almost 2 years, and we're looking forward to the next steps for sure. Yeah, and to our audience, I think this was absolutely great insight from someone that really dealt with a very challenging end-to-end solution that was implemented. And yeah, I would be happy if you follow us on the different channels where we publish this podcast: Apple, Spotify, YouTube. If there is any questions to Key Value, reach out to me. And thank you. I see you in the next episode. Thank you, Pedro, and all the
Thank you.
best.
It was a pleasure.